we've been discussing with the grade 12s that next year we may also have, we may be in a physical room, we may be presenting, but then we can still use the Zoom option to reach many people who cannot be present in that room. Chrissy, I don't see the laptop coming.
You accepted me.
Did I? Good. So we are ready to start. I wish you a pleasant time. Let's see how this common presentation is going to happen in a virtual environment, so-called. Wish you luck, and yeah, if anyone has any questions, please raise a hand. We will note them or put them in the chat. Thank you.
So we're starting, I assume. Okay, so everyone, thank you so much for coming. Welcome to our CAS presentation. We're going to be basically taking you through what CAS is, what it consists of, and so on in a short introduction, and then we're going to be going over our group experiences, our personal projects, and individual experiences in the following order. So we hope you enjoy it. Hannah?
Okay, yeah, sorry, I forgot to unmute my mic. So to start off, what CAS is. CAS is one of the core subjects of the diploma. It is mandatory for every student to take it and is needed for you to pass. Without CAS, you cannot get the diploma, the full diploma. So CAS consists of 3 strands, as you already saw on the title page: creativity, activity, and service. And through this, students have the chance to develop personal and interpersonal skills throughout their IB years. And it's a chance for them to grow, identify goals, and also have fun, enjoy themselves in balance with their academics. So what does CAS consist of? So we have CAS experiences. These can be individual experiences or series of experiences. As you will see later on, we're going to explain. You need a CAS project, which is supposed to be a minimum 2 months. It's a chance for you to set yourself personal goals, achieve them, and do something you enjoy. CAS presentation, which is basically the one we're doing right now. And the final portfolio, which consists of all the CAS experiences and the reflections to those experiences.
Okay, so in CAS, we basically have learning outcomes, and they're meant to, sorry, there's someone in the waiting room. Okay, and they're basically meant to make you think deeper about the actions that you're taking throughout your experiences. And as you can see here, they are basically to think about issues of global significance. It includes planning and organizing experiences, developing new skills, challenging yourself, working collaboratively with people, networking, being a better communicator, and so on, and identifying strengths and areas for growth, and overall being perseverant in CAS. So now we're just going to take you over our group experiences. So these are like mini projects that we did as a class. So, yeah.
Sivor, microphone.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, once again. So this was our first CAS experience as a class. So we had some help from the 12th graders to organize it and plan it in order to see how this is going to go in the future. We partnered with the British Royal Air Force in order to make a full day of activities for disadvantaged kids from the Cedar Foundation. As you can see here, we did races such as the 3-legged race, water cup race, capture the flag, and spoon race, and others. And once again, this was very challenging for us because we had never actually worked with disadvantaged kids, and I personally, for example, I didn't know how to approach them, and I was a little bit worried about that. And now Anna will explain more about the event.
So generally, since it was our first event organized by us, it was the first time we had to work collaboratively, and I think we personally achieved that really, really well. We set ourselves some tasks so we don't, basically, we know what each of us are going to do. I believe it was very organized, and the fact that we had the chance to collaborate with the CEDAR Foundation really helped us grow as people, given the fact that we basically had an event that talked about a global issue, such as disadvantaged children that don't have the same opportunities as us. And although we had this language barrier between ourselves, it wasn't a big problem because after all, we managed and we communicated with those people. Yeah, so this set foundation for our future events in organizing skills, also in working collaboratively, and this allowed us to develop certain areas for growth. Okay, so the Christmas Bazaar was the biggest event we organized at that time. It was in order to fundraise for the CEDAR Foundation and also for our future student initiatives. And what this consisted of, we had to make certain Christmas crafts and decorations with the CEDAR Foundation as well. Some we did ourselves. We basically went to Jumbo, bought all the materials, and we went ahead and crafted all those decorations. Okay. And when we had the Christmas concert at our school, we sold, and the profit went to CEDAR Foundation and our student initiatives. So this event specifically allowed us to apply our skills because we had to contact a lot of companies for a raffle. We also had the chance again to work collaboratively and be persistent in our CAS and show exactly our management skills. It was very demanding because we had a lot of crafts to do, and at a certain point we spent our school hours to do the crafts. So yeah, that's it.
So after the Christmas Bazaar, we continued doing a series of projects that were to raise money for the CEDAR Foundation, as we mentioned. So with this one, we basically made it as a fundraising event, and we handcrafted paper roses, as you can see in the photo, and we sold them to people on a pre-order basis. And we also made cards with them. And we ended up delivering them ourselves to the different parts of the school on the actual day of the 8th of March. And basically the money that we saved went along with the Christmas Bazaar profits to the CEDAR Foundation. But yeah, this was actually kind of more challenging than we expected it to be. And at the time, the Christmas Bazaar was the biggest event that we planned, but this really exceeded our expectations because it was so much work, and it took a lot of planning, and we learned a lot from the experience. I believe Anna will be discussing it.
Yeah, so at the beginning, we didn't really think that we're going to have many orders, but we ended up having more than 400 paper flowers to make. And believe me when I say that it was quite challenging. It's not that easy to make a paper rose. And I think personally, the fact that we spent so much time and we were so persistent and motivated to complete this task is what really helped us grow as people, even though people might think this event was not that major. Also, the fact that we knew we're going to help CEDAR Foundation motivated us to get through this event quite smoothly. And again, our class dynamic sort of improved when we did the paper roses. We knew exactly what we needed to do. We split into different tasks. We went to Metro, Jumbo, and just to buy materials. And overall, I think we were really coordinated. And all the planning already from the previous experiences, it showed that we got better at planning and exactly at achieving those goals we set for ourselves. Okay, so with bake sales, along with all the major events, we also organized bake sales because it was a really quick way to raise money for student initiatives. We went also in the kindergarten, as well as our school building, main school building, and we raised quite a lot of money. Some of the bake sales even had a theme. For instance, one time we organized the teachers' bake sales where all the teachers had to bake, and we sold their baked goods. And at the end, people voted for the best baked good, and the specific teacher received the prize. So as you can see, we sort of implemented a lot of creative things into the bake sales in order to raise money.
And along with all of these bake sales and the 8th of March flower sale and the Christmas bazaar put together, we made quite a bit of money, and we put aside half of it for, well, maybe not half, a part of it for student initiatives for future projects, which you're going to see later on. And we donated a total of 1,500 Bulgarian lev to the Cedar Foundation. And because it was a combination of such work and effort, we decided to do it as a sort of party altogether, and we had cake and juice and whatnot, and we presented them with this gift card. And I think it was a really nice way of kind of closing off a chapter and finalizing a project, but also kind of reminiscing and thinking about what we learned and how we grew through the process and working with them.
Okay, so the 1st of June, in order to say a big thank you for our school community and also celebrate the large diversity we have in our school, we decided to organize 1st of June, International Children's Day. So here, it took a lot of planning because we talked to the Cuban ambassador and also to many, many companies to get food for free. Basically, we wanted to organize something fun. And already here we could see that our skills have developed so much. It wasn't really that hard for us to organize this event generally. It took, I think, more than 1 month to plan it. We also had in mind to have a different venue, but due to some circumstances, we had to resume to our school building. But I personally think it turned out amazing. We had a raffle, we had drinks, food, barbecue even. And a lot of people came there and they enjoyed themselves. We provided a lot of activities for children in order to celebrate Children's Day, of course. And I personally think it ended up being the biggest event BSS ever had. And seeing how people were smiling at that event was just amazing. Yeah, now Denise is going to talk about the outcomes from this event.
Yeah, so as Anna said, it was like the biggest event that we'd ever tried to do as a class until then, but also it was huge in the scale of BSS as a whole. And we felt like we had a lot of expectations to fill, but we were so perseverant and motivated, and we tried to split our tasks into different areas. Like, for example, some people would talk to companies and ask them for free goods. Some others would make posters. Others would organize workshops and so on. So we worked collaboratively, and we kind of found the best parts of each other's abilities and contributed to one another. And through this, we kind of developed our networking as well as our ability to kind of organize and plan such a huge event and execute it. And overall, I think staying persistent and persevering throughout the whole event was super important. And as you can see from these photos, there was so much diversity, and we celebrated the international mindedness of the school that we're always trying so hard to promote. And I think it was a very, very good example of this, and we learned a lot through the process.
Okay, so this was a series of experiences for us that we collaborated with Order of Malta. And the purpose of the Order of Malta is to help people in need, for example, poor people or very old people. In this series of experiences for around 2 or 3 months, each Wednesday or Friday, we would go as a pair and we would give out sandwiches to old people in a Catholic church. This is what we mainly did. And I think this event was really good for us because it, at least for me, it opened my eyes and it kind of showed me that how privileged I am on a daily basis. And it also showed me that I should be thankful for the smallest things in life, and that other people really just need a sandwich to be happy and to see a smile on their face.
And overall, for all of us, it was a unique experience, a unique and challenging experience to help people in need. And as Savar said, it was one of the first series of CAS experiences, and it was challenging overall.
As volunteers to the Order of Malta, we also participated at the Pope's visit in Bulgaria last spring. We had to actively assist the pilgrims coming to the event, and we gave them guidance and distributed food and flyers. During the event, we challenged our team working and also social skills, as we had to collaborate with the other volunteers, but also try to interact with the people coming to the event. One specific challenge for me was the fact that the majority of people coming did not speak English, and I had to, that day I learned a few Bulgarian words, and I was able to have like small conversations and guide people and make sure they all had food and they all knew where they have to go basically. Anna?
Yeah, so as Bianca said, we had this language barrier, but it wasn't a big problem simply because we worked pretty well. And I believe that this made us stronger, and we identified this inner strength of ours when communicating with people. Also, it was quite inspiring to see how many people came to see the Pope. And yeah, not a lot of planning went into this simply because it was organized by the Pope himself. But we worked in a team, and I think we split the tasks quite well. We didn't have a lot of problems. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So last winter we participated at the International Women's Club Christmas Bazaar, which is a non-profit organization that aims to provide the integration of foreign communities in Bulgaria, and also donate to charities for elderly, orphan children, and ethnic minorities in Bulgaria. Every year there's a charity bazaar, in which countries get the chance to showcase their handmade crafts, music, and culture basically. So we volunteered to work at the Romanian stall, where we set up the decorations and also sold food and souvenirs to the people coming to visit in order to collect money for the charity. And we also worked at the cloakroom, where we welcome the guests coming to the bazaar and make sure their clothes and personal belongings were kept safely while they were at the event. So this event was quite challenging for me, as it took basically the whole day, and we had to work nonstop basically. And we really had to show commitment to this experience and distribute our work equally in order for us to get a break from time to time. And also volunteering at this bazaar, I think gave us a better understanding of what working for a social cause was. And it offered us an opportunity to challenge our ability to interact with people and also work collaboratively.
Okay, so this was the egg hunt. It was organized during the Easter. So my part, I'm going to explain how we prepared the egg hunt. So basically, me, Anna, and Amir went to one of the grocery shops. I'm not sure. It was either Fantastico, either any one of them, basically. I'm not sure. We bought prizes. We bought prizes for winners. Those were toys. And we bought the colorful styrofoam eggs. And the overall event will be explained by Lilia. Lily?
Our job was to hide the eggs and organize the competition for the kids. And it was an amazing experience because we, as the older students, had the opportunity to make something special for the younger students. And basically organize an event that is very special for the school, that it's enjoyable and fun for everyone. We organized the whole event within 2 weeks, I think. So this showed that our organization skills had improved a lot, only a little bit more than half a year in the IB program and organizing CAS events. So this shows that our reflection skills and our organization skills improved thanks to the fact that we were participating and volunteering more and more in those CAS opportunities and experiences.
It was very tiring, but the fact that we were all together in a group made it much, much easier. I believe that everyone played a really important part in the process. We had to carry the tents. Some of us had the compass for navigation, the map, because we weren't allowed technology. So we all, as a whole, we collaborated quite well. And I believe that when we set camp, everyone was quite happy because we had food and we had to cook our own food and whatnot. So it was very fun. And also this, what we had to learn for the adventurous journey, such as the first aid training, also navigation skills, we can use it in the future. So that was a great opportunity. And also an area for growth in the future if we're in such a case. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we had to overcome a few issues that arose. For example, one of the participants, Yavor, last year twisted his ankle or something, and he showed up to the event with a twisted ankle. So we sort of had to learn how to collaborate and kind of work with him and slow down our pace and so on. So I think in terms of group work, we were two different IB classes that didn't really get along, and we actually succeeded in doing that. So I think that was basically the most important, the teamwork that went into it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
start. Yeah.
To begin with, this boxing match event was a friendly event, and it was done to promote working together and having fun through the event. This event was planned in 3 weeks, and the ring was assembled out of materials purchased by grade 11 and 12 of that time.
I'm gonna speak next. So the main event was preceded by the press conference, which was two days before the main event. And also, one thing that Emir forgot to mention is that ring was assembled 1 day before the event occurred. So we actually put a lot of struggle and a lot of work into that ring. So that worked out. Emir?
During the match, there were paramedics present in order, in case of emergencies, and the two people who were boxing also had their protection, such as helmets, mouth guards, and hand straps. And also, to decide the winner, there was 3 judges, and during the match, there was a referee present as well.
And I would like to mention that everyone combined their own effort. Everyone participating in this huge experience combined their efforts. For example, Denise designed a poster that built up some kind of, even I would say, anticipation towards the event. And partially anticipation was built up by the grade 12's loud nature of that time. So yeah, so we combined our artistic, creative, activity, everything, and everyone was excited about this event. Denise?
Yeah, so basically what I loved about this was the fact that those who wanted to participate in the fighting got to do that, but the past fits, like David and I, got to do the pretty stuff. So we were in charge of the creative aspect of the match. As you can see here, I designed this poster on Photoshop, and here you can see David and I positioning the cameras around the ring, and these are our workspaces, and David's going to elaborate on that, basically.
Okay, so we had 3 cameras. We just wanted to be exceptional. We had 3 cameras on both sides of the ring, and one dynamic camera, which Denise was shooting, which Denise was recording with. And the match was edited. The match itself was edited by Denise, and the press conference was edited by me in different softwares, LumaFusion and iMovie. Yeah. Next slide. Those are the learning outcomes. We just want to, we actually tested ourselves. How could we organize this huge CAS experience? At least I consider it to be a huge show, let's say. and let's say, and we collaborated to assemble the ring, to call all the people to that press conference, to call all the people towards this event, and it was a fun little event. Denise,
Yeah.
switch.
Yeah, people had fun, and most importantly, we focused on the artistic and sports side of boxing rather than the other implications that may occur.
At the end of the day, they remained friends, so that's good.
Yeah, they did.
All right, so this was a small event. It was a presentation on censorship. It was initiated during the ITGS class. We presented 4 different countries. Me and the other students of our class designed the posters together. They included the short censorship laws of the country, of the chosen country, and they included the short list of censored services in the country. Why this is important is because we have our own personal involvement. I was involved very much with censorship in Russia. And we could present this huge problem with censorship in different countries and how it can limit people to access certain things. Also, we presented towards a huge, let's say huge, audience of grade 10, if I'm not mistaken, grade 10 and grade 9 students of that time.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, it was a lot of students. Let's say that.
8.
Yeah. Go
on. Can I just point out that besides censorship, we also created a presentation, and we spoke about internet safety for the younger students, how to research correctly, how to use the internet without harming yourself by accident, and the smart methods of working on it. So yeah, Svar?
I don't really have anything to add. I think that you two explained the event pretty well. Yeah.
Okay. Well.
David.
Okay. Haunted House was the last CAS experience we had as a class. It was not as huge event, but it was a pretty big event. We had huge queues of children wanting to get to this haunted house, and the way how we assembled, how we collaborated was the most amazing part, because we bought different materials from was it Jumbo? Yeah, it was Jumbo. We bought different materials from Jumbo. We assembled this little room, filled it with cobwebs, filled it with different decorations. It was a fun experience, Anna.
Yeah, so besides enjoying ourselves because we got the chance to scare a lot of children, basically it was fun. It was a nice ending to our whole CAS experience, because I feel now already our class dynamic was really well developed, and we knew exactly what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. So there wasn't a lot of planning on our side. We went more into execution. And I could say that generally the haunted house allowed us to sort of enjoy the last CAS event we're going to have, and also basically, I don't know, just raise money, because that was the point of it, to raise money for our student initiatives.
Next slide.
So yeah, here are some photos. It was difficult to take photos because it was so dark, but as you can see, it was very, very frightening. Okay, so this is a little laugh gag.
It is a little laugh gag. We got supported by those people. We donated our money to them, and they gave us the good.
Yeah.
So
basically, we were in Fantastico, Jumbo, and Metro more than we were in class sometimes.
Yeah, actually, that's facts.
And of course,
and Cedar Foundation as well, because
special things.
Changing lives. They changed our lives.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
and so now on a more serious note, we're going to be taking you through our projects. And as Anna mentioned in the very beginning, these projects are, they last a minimum of 2 months, and they're a more kind of planned and bigger experiences than the ones you just saw previously.
Okay, so the yearbook. David and I decided, with the help of Miko, of course, to create a yearbook for our class, given the fact that it was our last year in the school. And this was an opportunity for us to put all the special memories we had throughout the years as a class. And also, we decided to make it a rather special yearbook. It's not the usual yearbook you would see in normal schools. It's something creative, so we applied a lot of creative skills we had gathered from previous experiences. Of course, David will show you an example of what a page would look like. And I think it was really nice to work with David because we had quite different ideas, but seeing how it turned out in the end was really nice.
Okay, so this is an example page. For example, this is how all the pages are done. Basically, we're trying to mimic some certain text style that relates to the hobby, directly relates to the hobby of a certain person. For example, Denise is very deeply involved with music, so we put her on the cover of Rolling Stone. Same was with Savar. We put Savar on the cover of a basketball magazine. For Amir, we put him on the information table in the airport. For example, there are many various examples that you can see in the yearbook. I hope it will be memorable to some of you, or at least to most of you. Also, on a technical side note, the yearbook will be saved in both EPUB and PDF. I just had to mention that because PDF is more compatible and EPUB is for vanity points because it looks better, I think.
Nice.
Anna?
Okay, so generally our outcomes, we work collaboratively. As I said, David and I shared our perspectives on the yearbook, and together we decided on many great ideas. Also, I think that our creative skills improved immensely throughout this project, simply because I wasn't that acquainted with Photoshop or Pixelmator. It was the first time I actually worked in such a software. And I would personally love to do this in the future, whether it is for a small community as it is now or for a larger community. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, so for my project, I decided to make a poetry and art zine. And for those of you who may not know, a zine is basically a small magazine, usually made by one person by hand. So I was really inspired by Leonard Cohen's poetry books and his last album that came out. Well, he passed away a year ago, but his son put out a spoken word album, and it was super inspiring. So I decided to kind of try to do something sort of similar. So my goals were to combine my art, poetry, song, and prose type of writing all in one, to be perseverant, because I find it kind of hard to go on with a big project sometimes, especially beside my academic work. And I wanted to share it with people as well, so it could be kind of like a service as well as creativity. So overall, it was motivated by my personal growth, but also, you know, wanting to kind of give back to people who like this type of medium. So it included songs, poems, drawings, and paintings, like I mentioned. And I kind of grouped them in similar themes, and it included approximately 40 poems and songs, 3 works of prose, and 22 artworks. I worked on different themes like the human condition, romanticism, and so on. And not only did I make new content, but I also used stuff that I made during the IB Diploma Program that was unrelated, but I thought that it fit in. And of course, it changed throughout the process, and I had kind of a hard time planning it because it was such a versatile kind of art form, and then I decided to just let it grow as it did. So these are some examples of the pages, artwork and like the poem next to it, stuff like this, and then prose. Yeah. So yeah, and overall I kind of, as an artist, I feel like I really grew because I was really pushing myself through, you know, trying really hard to make artworks during the academic time, especially towards the end of the IB when I was focusing on the extended essay and so on. But I think at the same time, it was kind of like an outlet for me to rest a little bit from the academic pressure. So yeah, it was very enjoyable and also I think quite a success considering what I wanted to create.
So for the newsletter, Emir and I, we decided to work together because firstly, we were missing creative hours because we're not that creative. For example, as Denise, we can't really draw or paint or make any songs. So we figured out that writing is also counted as creativity. So we decided to make a newsletter. We have 6 different editions of the newsletter, and it starts, every edition is 1 month, and it recaps what happened in the school in this 1 month. And the newsletter, the purpose of the newsletter is to inform what the students of BSS have accomplished in this month. And yeah, now Amir is going to show us an example of the newsletter.
Yeah, you can see one of the examples that we did. It's the January edition, and we just like wrote about the events that happened in January. For example, there was a football win. Our grade 4 and 5 won against one other school, and we just talked about it. And then there was one important event called Save the World Bake Sale. So we talked about it as well as the World Scholars Cup. So our aim was, as Savar said, we were just trying to write about what happened in that month. And yeah, can you finish?
Yeah.
And throughout the project, we worked together, and we had faced many difficulties, and we of course overcame them. And we developed our, as Savar said, creative skills. We wrote, I think, well, and also the design of the newsletter was also done by us. It was also challenging because we tried many templates, and some of them didn't really work out. So we had to spend time making a new one, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Go back because this slide is the next one. There is one about my project before that. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So for my project, I created a digital picture dictionary that focuses on the essential words in Bulgarian and English, plus topics that first and second graders study in Bulgarian for foreigner classes. Inside the dictionary, children will find more than 250 words, and that are both in both languages, with supporting pictures drawn personally by me. The project is related to teacher assistance in first and second grade, which I'm going to discuss a little bit more in detail later on. The point is, through all of my visits for those 6 months, I learned a lot about how information is being taught to small children. It is much more interactive, and there is a lot more visual stimuli in the whole process. And this is exactly what I wanted to apply in my own project and this approach to learning. As you can see on the right, on the right pictures over there, in this drop-down menu, they can select the words. So there is no typing in the whole dictionary. And as you know, first graders, for example, are new to computer typing, and English and Bulgarian are foreign languages for them in most of the case. So this structure makes it much more easier for them to access these words. The dictionary could be an accessible tool for quick revision of vocabulary. All words from the topics that they study are in translation, and that's why there is this additional table on the left. You can see all the words are listed in this way, so this makes it much easier and quicker for them to revise the words. Personally, for me, this project was challenging, but nevertheless, it was very enjoyable and fun. I was new to programming of such advanced projects, and I didn't have a lot of experience with digital content. A lot of support and feedback throughout the whole process. So for me, this was very valuable, and as well, I want to say a big thank you to her and to Ms. Bori, with whom I reflected my ideas, and the whole project looks the way you can see it now. Thanks to them. Denise, could you go to the next slide? Denise, go to the next slide.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm clicking.
And overall, this project taught me a lot, and I believe it has even more to teach its users and the future developers. I'm talking to 11th grade. If anyone is willing to enrich this project and include some sentences, translations, and so on, it will be, I think, of a great help of everyone. It will be accessible to use in class and at home very, very soon, and I'm very excited to see it being of help to our school community in a very short period of time. Now, next slide, please. No, go back.
Oh,
Oh.
the first in a row, I guess. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And now, briefly, since I mentioned that this is related to my CAS experience, about my personal experience with first and second graders in these Bulgarian classes that I attended. It was one of the most enjoyable and fun experiences for me in my whole CAS portfolio. Actually, it was the longest one. It took me half a year to complete it. And my goal was to have a lesson on my own after a very long preparation process of attending all these stages of teacher assistance. Through this period, I became much more aware of how young children are being taught and how different the approach is compared to us. I'm really thankful to Ms. Tammy and Ms. Bobby and all the primary school teachers who helped me reflect and identify all the strengths and weaknesses of my presentation and communication skills. And I definitely improved my the effectiveness of my oral presentations throughout this period. And first and second graders were the best audience to present and to practice these skills to, because, as you know, children are very they're pretty much visual learners, and definitely this helped me be more thoughtful about my presentations and the way I present in a big way. And now the lesson itself, my final goal, I achieved it last year in November. I had the lesson on my own with second grade, and on the right you can see some pictures, some moments of this lesson. I'm very proud to say I learned from the lessons before from the teachers. You can see some parts of the role play games that I organized. We were making this Bulgarian market and they were making orders in Bulgarian. And also on the left, some pictures of the competition games that I organized then. And they were all in Bulgarian. And in this way, it was excellent practice for the young children to, for the small children to practice their memory and communication skills in Bulgarian. And this was all presented in the form of games that everyone loved. All children were very excited. They were very attentive and happy with the lesson, which was the most rewarding and meaningful part to me. I'm very, very proud of what we have achieved in this whole journey. And I think I completed my goal and it was done in an amazing way.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So for my project during the winter months, I decided to start practicing a new sport for me, and I decided to go and take skiing lessons. My main goal was to improve my technique and be able to go down the most difficult slopes. I took a total of 7 skiing lessons, and afterwards I went practicing by myself. And I accumulated a total of around 20 hours of skiing last winter, basically. We can change the. So I chose to do this because I wanted to challenge myself and engage in a new physical activity. These allow me to improve both my skills and also my strength. And I saw myself grow as a person as I went forward into the project, and the time, and also greatly increase my skills overall. So these were our projects, and now we have a bunch of individual experiences which weren't as big as full projects or like mini projects, but they kind of helped us grow in our little ways throughout the 2 years.
Okay, so me, on my own, I focused on the activity aspect of CAS. So that's why I went to the gym, I skied, and played tennis. So the gym, at the end of 11th grade, I went for around 1 month, I believe, to the gym simply because I was stressed, and I actually wanted to improve my stamina. So I got a trainer, and he helped me in the journey. With ski, I suffered a knee injury, and I went skiing usually every weekend in order to push my limits and be able to go down the more difficult slopes without feeling scared that something might happen to my knee. So that was quite big for me. Also, now during quarantine, simply because everything was closed and there was nothing to do, I have a tennis court at my house. So I play tennis around 2 times a week in order to stay active. So I lost 3 kilograms in the process, and I also learned more about tennis. Now I know how to play basically. So that was fun. In the future, I would like to actually go further and play on a more professional level. But that's when everything reopens again. So yeah.
Okay, for my individual experience, I basically, well, among other things, I did grade 3 English teaching assistants for a month, I think. I went every Thursday for an hour and a half, and this was basically the kind of lower level class wherein English was a second language for most of them, and they worked on their spelling words and so on, and I'm really grateful that the teacher kind of allowed me to interact with the students freely and help them in my own way. And not only did I kind of build social reports with the students while helping them, kind of, helping them motivation-wise as well as with the actual English skills. It was really interesting, and by the end of like the second or third weeks, they started like looking up to me, sort of trying to impress me with how well they did on their tests, and it was adorable, and I felt like I was kind of making a difference for them. So yeah, I think it was really enjoyable. Var?
My personal experience, it was playing basketball. I've been playing since I'm 6 years old, and during the IB program, I think that it was really important for me to, have an area of interest or a hobby to explore in order to release some of the stress that I might have experienced. So my long-term goal was to actually get a scholarship and play in the US and study in the US. I was able to successfully complete that goal this year. And I usually have goals for every year pretty much, and that is to, just to get better and also win the Bulgarian championship with my team. And lastly, I want to say that I think it's really important for overall for students to have any area of interest to explore during the IB program, because there's a lot of stress, academic stress, so they need to relieve it somewhere. For example, Denise had art, Anna had skiing and tennis, and other people had, David, for example, he did a lot of things digitally, such as the yearbook. So I think it's really important for for us as children to relieve our stress in areas of hobbies.
So I'm swimming actively since grade 7, and in my old school I was in the swimming team, and that's why throughout these 2 years, throughout the IB, I continued swimming. I was in my previous life before IB, I competed in many races, and So during IB, I went to the pool 2 times every week for a year and a half. And during my practices, my aim was to swim with the styles that I did not race with. For example, I was racing with freestyle generally. And during my practices, I was swimming with other styles. And I also, and yeah.
Okay. David?
All right. So, my gym. All right. So I went to gym for those last 2 years of IB. I went to the gym to decrease my volume of adipose tissue. So every week, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, I went to the gym, did a general workout with my trainer, and I set a goal. Back in December, I set a goal to be under 90 kilos because I've always been more than 90 kilos. So I actually achieved it. I went to 88, but well, due to the lockdown, I'm now well over 90. So I still achieved my goal when I was in the gym. So it was very important for me to be very persistent in going to the gym because I'm usually not a very sporty person. And I also developed a lot of, like, let's say, muscle mass. Yeah, I became a bit stronger. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, so basically, because of the lockdown, David cannot go to the gym and I cannot go to the pool. And we decided to meet together and do cycling every Friday, and we are doing it for 1 hour. And in the slide, you can see a picture. It's like the route that we were cycling, and we meet in different places every week, and we, in a way, discover and try to enjoy our moment in lockdown.
For example, this Friday we're gonna go to the South Park. At least planning to.
Yeah.
If the weather is not gonna change.
Nice.
Next slide.
Okay, so we have exactly 4 minutes to spare until the meeting kind of quits again. So if it does, then you know what to do. But yeah, so as you can see, we participated in so many events in the CAS program, and we explored lots of different areas of interest. We grew as a class and as individuals. We stepped out of our comfort zones. We became internationally minded, better communicators, better networkers, planners, organizers. And, you know, right now, I think you could throw any event at us and we'd just be like, okay, and we'd plan it for you in like 2 days. So yeah, for future IB students, good luck. And I think you're going to really enjoy the IB. And as Savar said, that was a very, very good point. Besides helping you grow as people, it's also meant to help you enjoy yourself throughout the process as well, and kind of not think too much about the academic stress and live a little, you know. And I think that's it. If anyone wants to add anything.
Yeah.
I
Really?
would like to
Yeah.
say a few things actually. First of all, it was really nice to hear what you've been doing. Some of the things I'm very aware of, especially the projects that we did in the first year. But seeing what you've done since then, and also your individual projects that you've done, I think it was really amazing to see from the collective what you've done and where you really grew as the class, and then also from the individual point of view where you've grown as people and really developed personal interests. And I think when you show the whole timeline of your CAS experience for the 2 years, it's really incredible to see the real growth that happens in all of you. So I do think that this CAS program has really proven for you as a class, it's given you real life skills that many people don't have. Many people still need to learn, but definitely you're right. I mean, throw an event at you and you guys can manage it. And I think that's well done. You've really done so much in these 2 years for your small community of the school and also the wider community as well. So well done, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank
Really,
you.
thank you. Yes, I think that the session is going to end very soon. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Indeed, it was enjoyable to me. I'm into it, but I hope everyone else enjoyed the info and you know, felt a little bit with you when you took them through your experiences. It's like for next time, I know music and and probably a kind of something during waiting time. So that we are more relaxed, we can share and we can laugh. Usually that presentation is interactive and people like throw some jokes in the group and others respond to it. But now the different setting kind of kept us a bit stiff. I hope that you have enjoyed. We have next year 15 people, so double the size group to listen to and to see what they are going to present to us. Thank you a lot for joining.
Should we give a clap? Should we give a nice clap?
Well, let's give a clap.
Yeah, virtual clap. There we go. Well done, everyone. And well done, Miss Bori, also, for our CAS coordinator.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I see you next year.